The thing that's going to keep you hard stuck if you don't fix it is autopilot. Now, what is autopiloting? If you haven't heard of the term, or well, you probably have, and you just don't know what it means. Autopiloting is basically like not using your brain to do something. So in Overwatch context, you're playing the game without really like utilizing your brain, and you're kind of just going through the motions. And what this is gonna do is you're gonna like use the current skill level that you have, and like it's just gonna like get put onto the game. You're not thinking about where to play, like who you should shoot. You're just playing the game, but like you're not thinking. And then your current skill level is going to be utilized in that. However, this is a bad thing because we're not actually improving. And in fact, it can actually make us either play not good enough to win, or it's going to make us play worse because our level of autopilot might not be enough to play good enough to win the game. But why is this a bad thing? Because like I said, you're not using your brain to think about what's going on, and that can kind of lead you to start defaulting, which is another term which is a bit more Overwatch related. If you've watched A10, like his videos, he's an educational content creator on Overwatch. It's he kind of like defines it as defaulting down the same path. So like every map has like lanes and like different angles you can take. Most people are gonna go down mid or down the middle lane because it's just like the easiest thing to go. But that's defaulting. And if you didn't want to default, you would kind of ask yourself, uh, okay, where can I go to kind of take a lane or take an off angle? And then that in itself, using your brain to think about these things, is the opposite of autopiloting. But the reason why this is bad is because if you're not thinking, it's more likely that you're going to get outplayed. You're not going to be really like locked in for the game, and it autopiloting just makes it very likely to lose because you're not thinking about how to outplay the enemy. That's kind of the whole reason why it's bad. And the worst thing is that it stops you from actually improving from the match that you're playing. But how do we actually improve at things? Well, think about anything like any sort of skill that you've ever learned. Let's say like the gym, right? Let's say you start in the gym, you start at like level one. You suck at everything. The weights are really heavy. Exercise just feels difficult. But how do you improve? Well, one, you did more exercise. Like you did the thing over and over. Just naturally, as you do something, you're gonna get better at it. But two, we put in the focus and the intentional practice to get better at that thing. So let's say we are a beginner and we want to get good at bench press. How are we gonna do that? Well, one, we're gonna just do it more. So we're gonna start with like the 20 kg bar or like even less if we can't do that, and like we're just gonna do it, right? And cool, we're doing it, and then like after the gym session, cool, you've done 10 reps of 20 kg, cool, great. But then you go home and you're like, wait, okay, is there a way I could do this better? So you start looking up, how do I bench press better on YouTube? And then you learn to kind of retract your scapula, which is like where you kind of pull your shoulder blades back, which gives you a bit more stability. And then you learn about leg drive and you learn about the proper form of how to like push the bar back up or how to like let it come down to you and don't let it bounce off your chest. That is intentional practice where we're intentionally think about these things as we do it, and that is how we improve things. So first, we put in the reps, we just do the thing, and then two, we actually think about how to literally get better at that thing. And in Overwatch, that could be, let's say we want to get better against Zen, or no, get better as Zen, and like we're just playing Zen. So first of all, we just want to play Zen more, because naturally we're just going to get better at something as you do it. But then second of all, you could be like, oh, I kind of die a lot. So how can I stop myself from dying? Well, I can try and think about using cover more, or I can think about my distance management more. And these are fundamentals that I teach in my school community, link in the description. Like you can think about different aspects of like Overwatch gameplay that you can think about how do you improve it, and then how can you implement that in your gameplay. So let's say we're playing Zen. We're getting the reps and that's good. But then second of all, We're actively thinking about using cover better to stop ourselves from dying. And then over time, as we play Zen more and more, you're gonna find yourself using cover better because you're thinking about it. And then it's gonna get to a point where you feel satisfied at the level you've gotten to with practicing, and then you can move on to something else, or you can keep practicing that same thing. And that's how we actually improve, with intentional practice. Now, intentional practice versus autopiloting, I've kind of just explained the two, but intentional practice is just thinking about improving a certain thing in our gameplay, and then autopiloting, we're like kind of cashing out on our current skill level, but we're not really improving, and we could even be playing worse or getting worse. But it means we don't have to use our brains, and it's a little less stressful. However, intentional practice is what is going to make our skill level go up from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. That like that's the thing that's actually going to help us get up. Because autopilot is like the first part, just playing the game, but if you're not focused on anything, it's kind of a waste of time. But how do we actually practice, right? Now, I kind of just, I missed a slide actually. So yeah, autopilot is why people get hard stuck, right? Because if you're autopiloting, you're not actually trying to improve. So naturally, you're just going to hit a level where like your skill can't take you above. So like, let's say our autopilot level is like at a master level. So like we are just ignoring everything else in a vacuum. We are a masters 3 player. And let's say we're starting in gold, right? So eventually, you know, our autopilot is going to take us through gold, plat, diamond, into M4, M5. And then once we get to M3, because our current skill level, just in general, like for our whole like capabilities, is only at M3, we are going to get stuck there. We're probably not going to go down, but we're not really going to go up. Now, sometimes we might reach M2, but that could be just some luck, just like other external factors that aren't really you. But then naturally, you're going to stay in M3. But intentional practice actually allows you to level up the skill. So autopilot keeps you at that skill level. So let's say we are like level 10, which is M3. Intentional practice is the art of taking that skill level and slowly adding experience points to it so we can get up to a higher level, which in Overwatch is going to help us reach a higher rank because we are now a better player. Now, how do we actually practice? Well, like I said, you just want to use intentional practice by just playing the game, putting in the reps, and then picking something, or, you know, between 1 to 3 things to work on it in a game. It could literally be anything, by the way. It could be, oh, I want to, you know, train my aim, however you want to do that. Oh, I want to practice using cover. I want to practice shooting the right people. I want to practice my ult usage. It could be like mechanical stuff like that. Or it could be a game sense thing where it's like, okay, I want to practice on keeping track of where all of the enemies are. Or I want to keep track of where my team is. Or like, I want to pick a good time to pick an off angle. And by doing that, I need to be paying attention to kind of the fight. Or it could be more of like a mentality thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna practice keeping a level head, staying focused, or I'm gonna practice on not tilting as much. Like it could be anything. Pick anything to practice on, and just keep working on that. Make sure to put in the reps, and then you will eventually start leveling up that skill of whatever you're doing. Now, you don't have to do this forever, but I think if you want to practice something, you should at least do it for like one game a day. It can literally be one game a day if you want to practice your Ashe cooldown usage. Focus on that for 1 game a day, and you will make progress on that. And like to the upper limit of that, you know, I'd say 2 to 3 hours is where most people are going to be able to focus on for a long time. Other people can focus for longer on different things, but I think just because of the nature of Overwatch as a game, it can kind of get frustrating sometimes. You know, it's a competitive sport, I say, and it's like a not like stressful, but it's like a lot of mental weight in your head. It can start to wear you down, so you might not be able to focus for like 6, 7, like 8 hours, stuff like that, right? So just pick something or some things to work on in a game and just keep focusing on that put in the reps, and then when you've reached the level like where you feel like you've leveled up that skill, move on to the next thing. Now, something important that I want to say. You are going to lose more than you win during the period where you are focusing on a skill level. Because think about it, right? Before we were autopiloting, we were just cashing out on our current skill level, but we weren't really like changing our gameplay. We're just playing just how our brain kind of learned how to play just over time. And then, you know, we get the rewards of that. We win sometimes, we lose sometimes. But overall, we you know, 50-something win rate, right? But as you focus on something, you're probably going to lose more than you win. Because when you focus on something, you're going to shove everything else to the sides, like your cooldown usage, mechanics, awareness, in favor for practicing on this other thing. For example, if you're practicing on using cover, you might miss out on other fundamentals that are important, but that doesn't really matter because those aren't going to get worse. You're just kind of not focusing on them. And as you focus on this one thing, naturally you'll probably lose some games because, you know, maybe you could have used an ult better, maybe you could have shot the right guy at this time, whatever, right? That's natural. But as you level up that skill, you're gonna start playing better with this newly leveled up skill, naturally, right? Because once you focused on it, you'll level it up, as we spoke about. Then, because your overall level, right? Let's say the 7 main fundamentals. We have uptime, off angles, target priority, like distance, like you know, all of the fundamentals. They have their own levels. As we level those individual skills up, overall as a player, you're gonna go up. It's like I don't know games of skill trees like that. Maybe like RuneScape, I think, where like you have individual stats that level up, and as you level up each individual stat, you have like a main level, and that goes up slowly as you level up each individual skill. The same thing applies here to Overwatch. Once you've leveled that up, you've kind of improved a little bit as a player, and then you'll start playing better, and then you'll start winning more, even more than your previous autopilot level. I hope that makes sense, right? Let me explain it in numbers. So let's say we are level 10 right now. Just a broad number that doesn't really mean anything. And then we start focusing on our target priority. Now, we're going to lose out on focusing on the other fundamentals, naturally, or other things that we would focus on because we're focusing on this. But as we level up our target priority, you know, from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as we level that up, our overall level is going to go from level 10 to 11. And now, because we've become a better player, we are actually going to be able to start winning more. Because, listen to me, ranking up isn't going to help you get much better. Like, simply being in a higher rank isn't going to help you get better that much. Obviously, it can because, you know, you're going to be playing against generally better players. But if your mindset isn't in the right place, you're just going to de-rank again and not get to that high rank. But if you focus on improving as a player, as a person, and you do the right things to do that, naturally your skill level is going to go higher than your current rank, and the universe is going to have no choice but to make you rank up because you're winning so many games, because you're a better player than the average person in the rank you're currently in, and then you'll start ranking up. A bit of a shorter video today because I just wanted to go over this concept of autopiloting and why it's bad, why not to do it. And just quick coaching plug: if you want to learn how to get better at Overwatch, and you want to do it from a guy who's also on the same path as you, as well as other people, then I highly recommend you check out the link in the description. It takes you to my school community, Elevate Academy, where I will teach you how to get good at Overwatch and help you rank up. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to do the YouTube engagement stuff, like, comment, subscribe, share the shitty hype thing that they've added, and let me know what videos you want me to make, because I'm looking to help everyone out I can who wants to rank up and improve Overwatch. Let me know what sort of concepts or like ideas you want me to make a video on. Catch you in the next one. Peace.